the My Hero Academia War Arc. We are currently... The date is Tuesday, May 19th, 2020. Chapter 271 came out only a few days ago, and it is very obvious, based on recent developments, that we are at the peak of this arc. And this arc is going to change the face of My Hero for the rest of the series, I think. Now, how did we get here?
It's a ridiculous story.
Well, there's about 270 chapters planning here, so...
Let's focus on recent history.
Alright.
So let's set the scene. Shigaraki is in control, is now the master of Gigantomachia.
After a long battle.
And it's been 2.5 months ever since he proved himself to be worthy of taking over All for One. And since that time, he has been in stasis?
Yeah, stasis is a good word.
Right. In an undisclosed, whatever. An unknown location in the care of Dr. Ujiko, whose name was also revealed later, but apparently there's controversy around that, so I'm going to refer to him as either the Doctor or Dr. Ujiko. Fucking at me.
Suzuku's doctor.
Simultaneously, the pediatrician is... the evil pediatrician. You don't get a sticker with your checkup. No.
How could
the lollipop is poisoned.
Also, quirk.
No poison apples, only poison lollipops. Right,
so that's where Shigaraki is. He's under the care of the doctor, who is the right-hand man of All for One.
The only...
On the flip
he
side...
He spoke out, though.
Yeah.
Of All for One.
Simultaneously, while all this is happening, number 2 hero, Hawks, has infiltrated the... What are they calling themselves now?
Liberation League of Villains.
The Meta Liberation Front people.
The People's Front of Judea.
Name. Yeah. No, it's the Judean People's Front.
No, we don't like
Wait, you guys are the Judean People's Front? I was working for the People's Front for Judea.
We don't like those guys.
I think I'm a woman.
Right, so...
Anyway, moving back.
Has infiltrated this organization of who we don't care who wins as long as it's not the heroes.
Every villain is lemons.
Yeah, they have which is very interesting, seeing as how their relationship started off awfully rocky by, attempting to kill each other.
It was kind of like a new... It was kind of like a newer version of Overhaul and the what were they called?
The Bullets?
No.
Just call them the Yakuza,
whatever they were called. I found it very interesting. He was bringing that back again.
Well, I mean, something about that. We'll get into this in a moment, but we may be seeing Overhaul again in the near future.
Oh, yes.
We'll get into that at the end when we get to
yes.
The future. But first things first, the past. So, where are we at? Hawks befriended twice, betrayed twice, twice awakened his quirk to become one of the most powerful villains the villain side has, and then he was brutally stabbed in the back and or head. I can't tell off of those.
I believe
it's
recently it was said back.
Yeah, I believe it was the back because he continued to live until the whole Dobby thing.
Okay. So, and Dobby, we are not so sure if he's sad or not.
Well, his tear ducts are burnt up, so obviously he just can't cry.
Right, and that's why he's smiling.
And that's why he tried to murder twice.
Yeah, I mean, hey.
He was like, I don't care.
He's just like, dude! You killed my friend!
Whoa!
What the fuck?
Well, that's this new chapter, though.
Right.
There's a lot of things
in
this new chapter.
So, yeah, it's quite a bit... Well, the most recent chapter has actually been interesting in that. So let's just go over the chapter before this, because sequential order is a bit of a thing. So let's focus just on Hawks Dobby Tokiyami and Twice for
Yes.
right now. So, Twice, he's character arc
Dead.
ends. It's still, in my opinion, the saddest death in the series. I'm still
I agree.
devastated
Well,
to this day.
as we all now find out, tragedy breeds more tragedy.
Yeah, who'd have thunk? Much like real life. Good on you, Horikoshi, for making it realistic this one time.
For once.
You know, quirks. Totally realistic.
No, twice. Anyway.
Screw you.
So yeah, they got these guys.
So we find Hawks. You know, it was initially
Hawkins.
it was just good old Hawks and Twice. You know, having a bro moment, but not at all as real bros.
Because the fucking heroes show up, and it's great.
They're raiding.
I love it.
They're raiding
The
everything.
heroes breaking into the mansion.
Cementos tosses cement.
Cementos fucking pops off. We have seen this motherfucker in the background for chapters and seasons and so much goddamn time, and the most we ever saw him do was build a fucking like a 8-story tall pillar. And we were like, well, that's pretty fucking sweet. That's all we saw. That's all we've ever seen him do. What did he do? We saw him cover All Might with a fucking chastity blanket.
And
once.
those 8-foot tall pillars proceeded to be destroyed to pieces by Midoriya and Shoto.
Yeah, so it's like, what did this guy really do? What does he really bring to the table? I mean, come on. We've seen him wearing a comically large pair of glasses in a fucking hostage situation before we saw him level a goddamn complex.
Not just a building, a complex.
A complex, man! So this fucking guy, Cementos, pops off. And honestly, I'm here for Cementos. I need more Cementos in my life. I don't give a shit if he gets any characterization. I want Stoic Man to just
He is
casually...
literally a piece of stone.
He's literally stone-faced. He's the only character that gets to not get development and have it be perfectly in character.
How does one develop rock?
Okay.
Well, if we look at our good friend Kirishima, we'll find out.
Okay.
Man, Kirishima really fucking... He got the long straw when he realized there was a fucking... His hero... Well, a hero who is his hero was named Crimson Riot when he got the alliteration of Red Riot right there. Like, fuck me, man. That's a great name in comparison.
Okay.
Screw Crimson Riot.
Okay,
My
but
God.
we have Cementos breaking down the entire building while all of the other heroes are coming in and trying to take down all of this League of whatever the hell they're called.
Right, but who but Taserface should come storming out of the building in Cementos' wake? Well, they had a plan for that.
They had a plan.
We've got Denki Kaminari,
We got a lightning rod.
and we got character development and shipping. You see, we get a flashback to the Culture Festival, and we find out that electric dance music is what I'm going to call the Kaminari X Jiro ship. EDM is what I'm calling that going forward. We find out that EDM had some off-screen development, and everyone goes fucking hog wild because Kaminari is Bruce Springsteen. He played until his fingers bled. It was summer of '69. And him and some
Look,
guys
they're
from
still
school, they got
children,
together,
man.
they tried
They're
real
still
hard, you know?
Children.
Yeah, they're still in high school.
They may be children, but, you know. They may be children, but, you know, it's very obvious based on not just fan art, but Horikoshi's art that we shouldn't see. Anyway,
Moving
getting
on.
away from that, Kaminari does his piece. And now, interesting enough, of the students, where is Class 1A during all this? Well, they're very divided, interestingly enough.
And
So
One
we've
B's
got...
getting some quality representation.
Hell yeah.
Still
So who do we have? We have... 1B finally gets a fucking recognition, and we're like, who's this?
Who are you? Why are
There's
you
still... there's characters I'm seeing in these chapters, and I'm going like, alright, how many chapters back do I need to find this guy's fucking name? My god. So who do we have? We have Tokiyami and Kaminari are on the front lines of the mansion raid. And besides that, all the rest of 1A is divided into two groups who are doing evacuation on both fronts.
This
right?
is something I've heard some really cool theories about for the development of Midoriya. Because as we've heard in the past, I'm not sure if it was the chapter before this or a couple chapters ago, but we did learn that Midoriya has the quirks of all of the past holders of One for All in him, and All Might's mentor, I forgot her name.
Nana Shimura.
Her quirk was float, and in this scenario, he's teamed up with none other than Uraraka, the floating girl herself.
Oh, dude, fucking, I am here for this because, all right, so we already know how this whole arc ends. It ends with all the heroes disappearing. Now, I could go into the particulars in a little bit, but in my head, the way this ends, it ends with Deku and Ochako. Like, Ochako teaching him how to use float in the most effective way. Because, that's the thing, ever since Shigaraki powered up, and, this was before... I had this idea before the, before we found out that Shigaraki got fucking One for All. Like, all for one. Yeah, shit, that's so difficult. Yeah, before we found out that he got overpowered quirk number 2.
He had already gotten overpowered quirk. Easy for me to say.
Yeah. Overpowered perk.
Number 1, even stronger, because now he can just decay everything. Everything gone.
But that's what's interesting about the original decay power-up, is that the way decay works is that it decays anything that touches what he's touching.
True.
So if he touches the ground, it'll decay whoever's standing on the ground, whoever's touching a building nearby. And so, isn't it funny how his grandmother's own quirk, Float, negates his power set?
It's crazy how that works. It's almost
Deku
like it's good storytelling.
Hell yeah! So Deku gets Float, and suddenly he has the perfect hard counter to, I don't know about hard counter.
Yeah,
he has a
he
passive
can't really
counter.
move, technically.
Yes.
Yeah, he has a passive counter to fucking decay, where he can just, hover above the ground a bit. If that's the way Float works.
We're not sure yet.
I could swear that in the anime there was a clip where Nana Shimura was using it to, basically
that's
fly.
something we're not sure about yet. We're still questioning. It also says that... They also say that it gets more powerful, as we learned with Black... forgot the other one's name.
Yeah,
Black Whip. It gets stronger because of All for One's abilities. So...
Yeah, and that's actually something... So, how does One for All work? Does One for All power it up, once? Or does that power up continue to power
I believe it powers up.
Well, I don't think...
Time. That's what I...
Yeah, I think it's over time, it continues. But again, this is apparently the first One for All users who manifested the previous quirks.
It's true. Yes.
So, and even more so, when you think about it, All Might and Deku have already shown the ability to quote-unquote fly through using air pressure to move around.
And just jumping.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And just jumping. So even with just the ability to stay in the air, he has the capacity
to fly,
to maneuver.
Yes. Another thing I wanted to bring up, since we were talking about Shigaraki before, is since he now has All for One, does this mean he is already have a bunch of quirks? Because as we know...
Yeah, that was one of the things...
As we know...
So
All for One had to gate all these.
That's actually interesting. So I figured the way All for One works, right, is that All for One is the quirk ability to pass on a quirk,
It's
right? To pass on not only your own quirk, but other people's quirks.
And to take them.
Right. Passing on to yourself. Same deal. Same difference.
No.
So, okay.
There's
No.
a distinct difference, but okay.
Whatever. Anyway, point is, the way it works, in my opinion, is that I don't think All For One, the person, would feel it necessary to give Shigaraki, because, I mean, All For One already thinks he's on his way out, and if he thinks that he's on his way out, then he better have a successor who will not only do as good as him, but will surpass him.
Yeah, and
So,
he shouldn't need his hand
like,
to be held.
Yeah, so it's like in the same way where Bill Gates is leaving nothing to his
It's
kids.
true.
you know?
That's very true.
Like, make your own fortune, you
Exactly, but then how is he going to use this newfound power to fight Deku? Other than his decay quirk, which he already has.
So I
That's
had
where
a
it
quick.
comes in.
I was thinking maybe that his first quirk that he gets with one All For One is Exlis's quirk. The quirk we have no idea what it is.
That's true.
I figured it was just Cyclops based on context clues.
Fair.
Did he use it in the chapter? Actually,
No,
let me just
he
thumb
did
through
not.
this
No, he
really
did not.
quickly. No, he doesn't. No, he has not. This motherfucker is useless.
He's like, I see a machine. I should get rid of it. So
He hasn't even
we
done
can
it yet.
assume
He's just talking about it.
that his quirk is not long ranged if he didn't just get rid of
That's
it.
very true. Well, we never
It could
showed
be
what
very
he did.
strange for a quirk that's a laser that comes out of your eye.
I mean,
Yeah. I mean, it's X-less. I'm not sure.
His name is just telling people, yeah, I know, I'm like X, but I suck.
could I talk about another theory? It's a little callback a little bit. We were talking about Dobby before, and him fighting Hawks. One of the things I really loved that fight. I just wanted to say that. And there's actually two things.
Chicken
There's
wings.
two things on this fight that I thought might be really interesting. One is that this might be our second instance of a hero accidentally becoming quirkless. I don't know if you guys have heard about this. Yeah. Because
because of his back.
Dobby literally burned Hawks' back off. And we've
never seen him without even a little bit of feathers. Even in the
He
Endeavor
used to have
arc.
nubs. Yeah, he always has
Yes.
nubs. He keeps his chicken wings.
And then the other theory that
But-
I've heard about was sort of kind of reinforcing the whole Dobby is Shoto's oldest brother thing, and that is a list of things from Endeavor sending him off to the secret academy that trained students where they had to give up their old names that Hawk went to.
Yeah.
And also Hawk his reaction to finding out Dobby's actual name. Because he does tell him his name in that fight.
Yes. Because
The big black bubble. It could say anything.
He could.
In fact, he didn't tell him anything. He's just going, "What are you?" And he just walks up and just goes, "Haha, poopy."
Because we don't know. It's just a black bubble.
Wait a minute, you know my name? Who are you? My name is Yoshikage Kira. I'm 33 years old.
That's two Jojo.
It's a big ass fucking bubble,
It
man.
was a
If it's
big
only
bubble.
got 2 words in it, then I'm
it's
pointing.
literally just and that's it.
He just goes, dude, And Hawks is
We've
just
met
getting
before.
his ass kicked going, do I?
Literally the
Do I
rest of the
know?
fight's just
There's
why
also
can't I remember
the
this guy's
reference
face?
to,
I know I'm terrible with names, but what the hell?
It's just, in reality, this whole thing is just an over-exaggerated way of when you bump into a guy from high school who remembers you, but you don't remember
Oh my
them.
God.
So the whole time, they're kicking the shit out of you morally, but you're just sitting there trying to be nice. And that's what's happening to Hawks.
A little bit.
His wings are his self-esteem,
Well,
Everything's a metaphor, man.
dude,
Parallelisms,
parallelism.
man.
Parallelism.
Parallels. Everyone's here for parallels.
Another thing that
dude,
I wanted to...
black hair, parallel.
I mean, yeah. Another thing I want.
Oh, but Jolly, fucking, you missed out on that one. But I was saying to Pat that hair changing color has been a pretty big signifier of change in characters so far in the series. Because if you look at it so far, assuming Dabi is Toya, his hair went from red to black. Shigaraki's hair went from black to white.
And
Kirishima, the first person we ever see, dyed his hair from black to red.
And Endeavor's hair went black.
Which is a reverse of Dabi, interestingly enough.
Yeah.
Was Endeavor's hair black?
No, Endeavor's hair was red. It turned black recently.
What?
At least I believe so. After his fight with the...
It could just be the panel.
It could just be the panel. I'm not sure.
Yeah, because I think because it's kind of similar for Endeavor, because the difference was it's another hair thing. Endeavor always had his fiery mustache and beard going, even when he wasn't heroing. But in recent chapters, he didn't.
True.
In theory, if his hair did go black, that could lend even more to the Toya theory. That is just true. He went that hot.
I need to find out what you're talking about, Jolly.
It could have just been the panel.
It's probably just the paneling, but
this is probably just the paneling.
Yeah.
But another thing that I wanted to talk about was self-deprecating quirks.
Yes, that was a big part of the Endeavor.
Yeah.
Agency.
I mean, not only is that a big part of the Endeavor Agency arc, but that's also a huge deal when it comes to the quirk singularity theory.
Quirk singularity theory. That's another thing that I...
Big fucking deal now that we know who fucking came up with it.
Yeah, and the fact that he's a douchebag.
I feel like douchebag is underselling it.
Also...
Well, look, man, we'll get there later.
Yeah, I converted my grandson into a Nomu. What about it? What a douche.
There's also the question of, is he making Shigaraki into the quirk singularity? That's something that I've been thinking about.
Okay.
I mean,
what do you mean?
In theory, All for One and One for All are the very definition of the quirk singularity.
Yes, but
Yeah, the fact that Deku could barely hold on to it before, and the fact that Shigaraki needs to be mildly Nomu-ified to handle All for One is like that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And that's why he was put in stasis and doing all this tests on him, because they're doing what they do to Nomu just to a more precise degree, I suppose. Because, I mean, as you can see, the Nomu in the series have slowly gotten more and more individualized.
Yeah.
Like, the first guy was literally mindless.
Well...
Then the next one fought... No, literally mindless.
Well, it depends on what you define as the first one.
I'm talking about the USJ incident.
I know, but I'm saying if we define Kurogiri...
I'm aware, and
Nomu,
we'll get to it.
He is...
We'll get to it. So the first Nomu we see is mindless in every sense of the word. The next one we find is the one who fights Endeavor, who retained his personality and grudges, but not any memories, or even the way he looked, or even his quirk to an extent. Then we find out who but Kurogiri, a.k.a. Shirakumo, is a Nomu. He lost his memories, but he retained his personality and even his independence, which is a big deal. And now we're finding out that this new female Nomu who appeared in chapter 260 whatever, she kept her personality, her free thought, but not her looks, because I think something about the quirks just totally had to be changed in that regard. She is still Kurogiri is still the highest Nomu we've seen so far, but he doesn't have independence as much as the female does,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because it's not like the female has memories that have been locked away where they have to, fucking hit them with All for One is impervious to all attacks, both physical and magical. Oh, thank you, Mimir. How are you? It was mistletoe. All along. It's all we needed.
Nice.
But yeah, fucking Shigaraki is probably, on a technical level, going to end up being the most advanced, quote-unquote, Nomu so far. Because, obviously, in getting All for One, he got the ability to do what All for One does, but we saw when we first see him undergoing the process that he has to literally be torn apart and put back together on various levels. So I have to assume that that's
going to mess it up a little bit.
Nomu-ification,
yes.
you know?
Yeah, and it's weird in the sense, like, All for One has a bunch of quirks, holds a bunch of quirks. But he isn't a Nomu, per se.
That's true.
So, that, using that quirk gives you the ability to have multiple quirks, but is that, like, when you look at it, does Shigaraki now have 2 quirks, or now is Decay part of All for One?
Maybe. I think that particular question is still interpreted as 2 different quirks.
Yeah.
What I'm about to think is perhaps the training, quote unquote, is so that his body can handle a power up. So perhaps All for One is now undergoing a change where instead of just taking and redistributing quirks, they can still do that, but now they're powered up in the same way One for All does.
Interesting. I mean, again...
we have no evidence to say that. That's literally total crackpot pulling out of bullshit.
Not
really, because when you look at what the doctor said, that even One for All would not be out of reach for Shigaraki when he has All for One. So there could be...
That's one of the things...
Credit to that idea.
That's one of the things I was thinking about is... Shigaraki doesn't necessarily have to go for the mansion.
Oh! Fucking, alright, talking about what Shigaraki's going to do after this is gotten me going in circles.
I think he might go for Tartarus.
Because, alright. When it comes to Tartarus, no matter what, Tartarus will fall. Because, I mean, it's just, not only is it, just a logical place for the story to go, but in Greek myth, Gigantomachia killed the last Titan whose name was Tartarus. Like, come on. Fucking, are you joking?
Also...
But that brings me to this. Chapter 271 ends with Shigaraki awakening and Gigantomachia sensing this. So, does this mean that Shigaraki is going to clean up shop at the hospital? Is he going to head over? Is he, immediately going to fucking sprint to the mansion and do this? Or is he going to have Gigantomachia do the mansion? Or is he going to send him to Tartarus?
The reason I think he might go to Tartarus himself is because, one, All for One is there. And he could get all of the quirks that he currently has. Which would then solve the whole... He doesn't really have anything.
Well, again, I think no matter what, All for One is not going to be able to give or pass on those quirks that he acquired over the years to Shigaraki. Not because he can't, but more so out of principle.
That's also very possible. But also, All Might is there.
He could just kill him.
All Might is...
Shigaraki could just...
Oh, you think that's... Oh my god, parallels. So Deku will do everything in his power to keep All Might alive, and Shigaraki will immediately kill All for One the moment he's no longer useful.
That's very
Jesus, now that would be fucking dark, dude.
The other...
But it makes sense, right? Because it's a very... you're useless to me now. I don't want to play with you anymore.
I don't want to play with you anymore.
It's a very Shigaraki
and
thing to do.
it's a very way to just get more powerful, because the guy who had the quirk before you, there's no better repertory of quirks besides One for All.
See, that's the other...
Maybe that would be another Shigaraki thing, because Shigaraki has always been that One for All is what he wants. He wants One for All. That's the only thing he wants. He may, on principle, not take any other quirks, which would be,
the other reason why I think he...
A cop-out.
That's the other reason why I think he might go to Tartarus, is because All Might is still there.
Oh, shit! Okay, no. Tartarus, okay? Tartarus has every big bad we've seen so far
also true.
In it. All for One, Kirigiri, and most importantly for what I'm about to say, Stain also, but most importantly, Overhaul, whom Shigaraki nullified his quirk by destroying his arms. Shigaraki has now created a person who is harmless and can give him one of the most overpowered quirks
But
in
he
the
already
entire
kind of
series.
has that. Oh, not really.
Well, it can't. It's literally just a better version of Decay.
It's true.
Is it actually? Because the difference is Decay is currently better than Overhaul, except that Decay can't be undone.
Yeah.
It's decayed and that's it. Overhaul would give him the ability. It would just turn him
He
into
can also
Crazy
absorb
Diamond.
things at that point,
Yeah.
like how
I mean,
Overhaul did that
yeah.
in that fight with Deku.
Yeah, which I mean, I don't know if that's absorbing. I think that's just a different
Yeah,
application
different
of his.
reconstruction.
But also,
Right, because he could reconstruct at will.
if we continue with the whole All for One now powers up things, if he takes Overhaul, he could probably do a lot of crazy shit with that.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe like in forms of the quirk Singularity, like it would combine with Decay in a way.
Maybe.
You know, like how, like it would recently, like with the kids that in the provisional license arc with like Bakugo and Shoto.
Yeah, President Mike said that he's never seen kids with such strong quirks
True.
before.
Yeah, and like how they were very combined quirks, like from multiple different types of things put together. Like maybe that could occur in All for One now, where it's not just like these individual powers. Now they all like can combine into something more and complement each
So
other.
that was something I was wondering, because I've been playing a lot of Binding of Isaac. Do these synergize?
Synergy.
Do these like stack? Do these synergize well? Like how does that work with All for One? Even with like old All for One before it was.
Yeah, I mean, when he looked at it, like the spring-like limbs, like the way he combined all of his quirks, but he did it independent of each individual quirk.
It's
Like,
true.
what if Shigaraki's, like, could do it at the same time?
Shigaraki is now attuned to how Shigaraki is now knows how to break things down, like in a literal and like a figurative sense. Like he's intimately aware with not only how his quirk works, but also how Overhaul's works. Even though he's only interacted with him a couple of times because he saw him as a threat, so he did his fucking homework. So I wouldn't be surprised if, like, now that he has All for One, if he starts acquiring quirks, he'll just start inventing brand new shit out of it. Like in the same way how Loud Cloud turned into Warp with a little bit of tweaking from the Doctor.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Shigaraki will figure out how to do that, like, at will. It's like, yeah, no, I've got the power to run really fast and also the power to not burn. All right, what do I do with this? Oh, I put them together and now I can stop time.
Yeah.
You know, shit like
But
that. And he could do that on like a fucking
See, an
whim.
example of this that I was thinking about was All for One, like the original All for One again. He has his aging thing from the Doctor, but the Doctor said it affects his athletic ability.
So yeah, I think that's part of the reason that that one All for One has like kind of given like, okay, I've been around for 120 years. Yeah, okay, I'm
but like,
I think I'm done.
Could he unaffect that with like a strength ability? Was my question.
Well, All for One has obviously accepted it, so I'd imagine that he's tried to undo it because he took in Shigaraki when Shigaraki was like 6. So obviously he's been acutely aware of what's happening and why it's impossible to undo for an extended period of time now. And All for One is not one to just say like, oh, I don't know someone with that quirk. Oh well. Like, no, he recruited this guy 9, who then immediately went out of his way to go find the one quirk he needed, and he fucking found it.
That's true.
Like, if the quirk exists, someone has it, and All for One will go to the ends of the world.
See, but will Shigaraki do that kind of thing?
How
I don't see Shigaraki doing that.
I think the same, I don't see how Shigaraki wouldn't.
Well, remember when All for One took Ragdoll's quirk? He wasn't simply like, oh, I was looking for this for a long time. It looked cool. I wanted it. He's like
Is that so? 'Cause
Yeah.
I thought
that's what he said.
because actually,
In Tartarus.
But the funny thing about the Ragdoll's quirk is that it was... What was it called?
Radar?
It's the ability to sense... to be acutely aware of where people are and what they're doing. Ever since he got that quirk, All For One and Shigaraki have shared, like All For One from prison is very aware of what's happening at all times.
That might have just been plot.
No. There's no reason for them to have... Horikoshi never would have written in the detail of him taking a quirk called fucking Radar that does exactly what I just described if that wasn't extremely important.
I mean, again, it could be like that, but also they have things connected to his brainwave.
Oh, no, here it is. So the quirk is called Search. The quirk allows Ragdoll to observe and monitor up to 100 people at a time, including their location and their weak points. I wouldn't be surprised if, seeing as how that's quite a high number, if All For One is not only acutely aware of where Deku, Shigaraki, and All Might are at all times, but he's probably also monitoring the guys who are monitoring his brave ways and changing and using one of his other quirks to mask the fact that he's using a quirk. Because I don't know if there's even a way to... Like, they've said that there is, but I don't know if there's even a way to explain, like, a quirk that's activated just by thinking, you know?
True.
Because who's to say he's not just thinking?
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's the same vein of thought of, like, when the doctor's like, oh, there's this weird foot mutation. So, like, maybe perhaps the brain evolved in a similar way. But that's something that we will never know until it's proved by Horikoshi that he was just using a quirk and they couldn't tell because he has other quirks and he's just All For One and it just powered.
And he's just All For One, man.
So, like, in the end of the day, it's... I mean, when you look at it again, it could be similar to the All Might situation where with, like, the vestiges of One For All, that... All For One had, like, the vestiges of All For One when he gave it to Shigaraki.
It's true.
And, like, being able to sense it in that sense as a successor with, like, still having the vestiges of the previous quirk within you along with the copy of the quirk.
That is because something that the doctor said that I found very interesting was technically All For One doesn't have the original All For One anymore. He has a copy of All For One.
And we need to find out just how long ago he gave it up. Because from what I understand, to give away All For One like that, it would require, like, the non-copy version, like, that would require him to be present.
It's true.
And I can't see
how he would get into
how he could have given it to Shigaraki recently.
I agree.
You know?
Yeah. So one of the things I was thinking about was when can we place the All Might versus versus All For One fight, the first one? Because if we can place that in the timeline along with the same time that All For One recruited Shigaraki, because we never see the top of All For One's face when he recruits Shigaraki, right?
It's true.
Right.
So,
the only thing we have confirmed about him is that he once had a nose and white hair.
Yeah, but was that when he saw Shigaraki?
Yeah.
Okay, so then we know that that's before the first All Might fight.
Right, so we have to assume that the fight in which All Might got his big injury is the one...
that
he already says the
face,
one where he got from All For One. We have to assume that's the same fight where All For One got his...
face destroyed.
Horrible fucking disfiguration, you know?
So, my guess is that after that fight is when the transfer occurred. It was just dormant within Shigaraki this entire time. Because... if you look at it again, because didn't All For One, like, I don't know if this was explicitly stated, but I believe that it was that he had a completely different set of quirks the next time that they fought at the Camino incident.
Which, again, isn't much of a...
Yeah, because he does have a ridiculous amount of quirks.
Right, he literally has too many quirks to count, and he can call upon them at any time. And I wouldn't be surprised if in between fights he's like, man, fuck this original combo. I got a brand new moveset.
That's true. He hit the reset button.
But then again, I do think it would work well if that's how the progression worked in this story sense.
That would probably make the most sense.
Yeah, like, especially to the reader, because it would tie things together pretty simply.
It would also explain how he was sort of defeated at the next time he fought.
Yeah. I mean, then again, when you look at it, he only ever loses. Well, in that case, he only ever lost because of his own pride.
It's true. But still, he was still able to be defeated. Whereas in that first fight, he nearly killed All Might.
Yeah, and All Might thought he did kill him.
It's true.
Fight to the death where neither of them died.
I guess that's true. But like in this second fight, there was no injuries as bad as that first injury in that second fight with All Might.
Not at all. Well, you couldn't just kill him off yet.
I mean, yeah.
There's more story.
It's true.
But again, I think one of the big things here is, parallelism. So when I do think they're gonna die along the same time. I do think All Might and All for One are going to die in very similar.
Oh, All for One is totally gonna outlive him though, just out of sheer spite.
Well, I think, as we've mentioned previously, All for One is a very spiteful and petty guy.
He is the most childish character we have besides Shigaraki, whose entire character is that he's fucking childish. I mean, I was watching one of the episode of the USJ incident the other day, and it was, like, fucking the guy's 22, apparently.
Yeah.
He's like 20, 21, 22 years old.
And he's a child.
And I thought he was Deku's age. 15, 14 years old.
Yeah, don't even talk about Twice and Toga.
Well. The age is just a number, 35, 17. It's the same thing.
Don't tell that to the police.
Tell that to the judge.
Well, seeing as how they're villains, I don't think they have much of an issue.
Hey, you got a point there, huh?
Breaking the law, breaking the law.
Oh my god.
We just don't know what's going to happen next with All for One and All Might. And I think the important part for us to look at now is what's going on with the mansion now, because originally the heroes were winning.
All right, before we do the mansion, I just want to point this out.
Mm-hmm.
Once could have a gangbang by himself.
Yes, he could.
And I just realized I called him once.
Yes,
his
you
name is
did.
twice.
His brother once.
Dude, thrice. Nah, dude, his cousin thrice.
Yeah, my cousin Throckmorton.
Throck.
Oh my god. Okay,
So-
but on
so
to the
the
mansion.
mansion.
Back to the mansion.
Kaminari, sick ass panel. I just wanted to mention that panel is one of the coolest in the series.
I love
in my
that
opinion.
panel. It kind of reminds me of, like, the Freddie Mercury pose. I don't know why.
I always think of
Reminds
the I think it's Empire
Queen.
Strikes or New Hope pose. Like, it's just that.
Yeah! It's just, I mean, that's the literal thing.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, the pose and his costume together remind me of, like, Freddie Mercury.
I kind of agree.
I think I could see it.
Yeah, there's also a very good chance I've been reading too much JoJo. So, I see rock references
Speaking
and
of
everything.
JoJo's,
No, that's next one. Fuck off. Catch up to JoJolian, damn it.
So, mansion. So we got the Fat Taxi.
the Fat Taxi.
Fat Taxi is
And the
my
first
favorite.
time anyone
Fat Gum is
and the first
best
time anyone
boy.
has broken out of the Fat Taxi.
Apparently, yeah. Imagine, dude.
Dark Shadow.
Fumakagi
Tokuyami
Tokuyami Tsukuyomi is one of the fucking one of my favorite characters because he hasn't gotten much development and he's getting a great deal.
Well, he
surrounding
used to
Hawks.
back in the day.
He did get a great deal way back when, but now he
They
you know.
brought it back.
But right fucking now, we are learning that it's just ever since the joint training arc, it's just fucking yeah. I'm so goddamn angry. I could do anything I want because I'm that angry.
Dark boy be dark.
Yeah.
He just keeps hitting the...
Darkness. Darker than darkness. This guy's Vanta Black over here.
No, that Vanta Black's
No,
the other
Vance
guy.
Black's the other guy.
Screw you. We don't talk about
man.
Class 1B unless they're properly shown and drawn.
Mushroom Girl.
She was there. We saw her. She was in the fight.
We did, and she did something important. I don't know what it was, but she was there.
She did the midnight thing, but like PG-13.
With shrooms. She was getting
Yeah, shrooms
all
are
of the enemies
PG-13.
high.
Yes.
Yes.
But yeah, so the heroes were winning, right?
They were
when
winning,
you first look at
yes.
that, they were winning.
Yes.
Tokiyami, quote unquote, beats Redestro.
Yes.
Prosthetic legs for the win.
He literally just kicks him in the ankles.
And if it works, it works. Don't go against his methods here.
I mean, no. I'm all for it because fucking I still hold it that I don't give a shit what fucking series we're talking about. If you name an ability Ragnarok, it's the best one in the
A
series.
little bit.
And I believe that wholeheartedly. I don't give a shit what Deku does next. Ragnarok is still the greatest ability in the entire series.
Dude, what's his like float special ability gonna
Fallen
be?
Angel.
Float higher.
Oh, dude, just straight up flight.
Float higher.
Oh, dude. Okay, so you know how when he started jumping, he called it Air Force?
Yeah. Well, no. It was
Float?
the
Space Force!
Space Force. Oh my god.
no Air Force was the cannon.
It was the gloves,
Yeah.
I know, but still, that doesn't work for my joke, so I'm going to ignore it.
So,
You know, that would be a real big difference when he's like, Space Force, they're trying to smash! And you're just like, whoa, hey, man.
Oh, calm yourself, bro.
so
Like,
another
fucking hell.
thing that
You're going to flick me from the stratosphere, are you? All right.
one thing that I've been thinking about, with this news, with the new chapter, is it just me, or do the students kind of seem stronger and better than the professionals?
Well, no, because when you look at the Tokiyami Dabi fight, it's very clear that Dabi is winning and will beat the living shit out of Tokiyami.
Yeah, but like I'm not talking about Dabi. Dabi's Dabi. But like freaking he takes down Destructo in like
Well, he only takes down Registro because of a
sorry.
prosthetic leg injury. So but also when you look at it, Dark Shadow is one of the strongest quirks in 1A.
it's true.
It's literally a
It's literally a
stand.
stand.
It's a stand that gets stronger at night.
JoJo's reference
Yeah,
number
that's
3.
nuts. In the two, yeah, and you know, even though it's non-canon, in fucking Heroes Rising, we see it all but just straight up beat the main villain.
Well, yeah.
But then the
yeah.
sun came out,
Yeah, and then the one. Well, it was one.
and he
of
was
the
like,
main-
"Ah, fuck!" And he was like, "No!"
No, I was this close. We were this close to greatness.
This close to greatness.
Yeah.
It's over.
I have the
High
I have the high ground.
World r/world
Try it.
politics.
Nah, dude, it's a hentai.
No, it's a Warhammer sub now.
Well, the banner's still
Ah,
JoJo's.
no, dude, it was a JoJo sub as of
JoJo's
yesterday.
banner.
Well, it's
still
both.
there.
They're all united in the crusade.
The
But
JoJo
anyway,
banner's
back
still
to
back to my hero.
Back to basics.
Tokiyami. So, in theory, it's relatively dark at the bottom of a mansion. Just putting it out
It's true.
there.
We don't see
Dark
him lose
Shadow's
control
probably
though.
a pretty.
See, I agree with that, but Cementos has made inside
It's
outside.
also kind of true.
So,
Well, but
I don't really
Gigante
know.
Machia was inside,
was-
and that's where he saw Redestro.
He was also. Oh well, yeah.
oh, that's right. The basement
Yes,
is fucking
you're right
huge.
about that.
I totally
You're right
forgot
about
about that.
So, but again, remember when Dark Shadow was like, "Oh, that was a scary guy," and Tokiyama's like, "Yeah, but we just kicked his ass," and it's like, "No, not that guy, the other guy," and Tokiyama's like, "What?"
What other guy?
There's another.
Which is
Yeah.
strange because that means he's talking to himself. And
Well,
like, why is it that
no,
Dark Shadow
they-
knows something that
they count-
Tokiyami doesn't? How does
They
that make
count Dark
sense?
Shadow as a different person in the battle versus 1B arc. Because they count.
Oh, you mean like
Oh,
the
it's like
joint training
Yeah, the
arc
joint-
or
no, the
the
joint
one
training
in,
arc.
Like
in the
capture?
woods?
Yeah, in the capture.
Oh yeah, like one for the capture.
Yes,
right,
they counted
yeah.
Dark Shadow as a different person. Yeah,
No
It
kidding.
was their team of 4 was Tokiyami, Dark Shadow, and then 2 other people. I don't remember who the other
That's
2 people
interesting.
were, but
Huh.
it was.
But I mean, it's like
And I think it was Lita, Ida, and... Is it Lita or Ida?
Tenya.
Pretty sure it's Ida.
Tenya, Ida.
Tenya, fucking Ingenium, him and the other guy. Someone
Oh,
else.
Shoto.
Oh,
Yeah, because they have the ice,
Todoroki-kun!
cool shit.
Shoto!
Oh my god. I'm excited to see more development
I
on
love
that,
Endeavor,
though.
man.
On the whole
Yeah, for
Endeavor
sure.
and Shoto thing. Because we've already seen a bit
Like,
of it.
Endeavor...
Oh! Alright, now that we're back on the Todorokis, I have a bit of a thing. So in Chapter 271, we learned that Getten, the female ice user from the Liberation
I
Front,
thought it was a male, I swear.
It's a female.
is female. Look, it's very much female, because, you know,
I know, you said the
Horikoshi
eyelash
signals
thing.
gender on eyelashes. Yeah, that's how he signals gender, regardless of the haircut. So, Getten is a woman. Now, think of it this way. Toya Todoroki exists, and so does Shoto Todoroki, because Enji Todoroki, Endeavor, needed to find the perfect mix of hot and cold so he could make an icy hot pack. Toya came out with the packaging of an ice pack, but it was a fucking space heater. How the hell did that work out? It doesn't. It melts.
It's true.
So, he tried a couple of times and he finally got the perfect icy hot pack. So where does that leave us now? Well, the fucking plastic space heater went out on his own. And who does he find but an icebox?
Oh.
So now I'm saying, what is the biggest fuck you to Endeavor? If Toya Todoroki hooks up with another ice user and has a kid with the perfect icy hot balance.
That would be...
Now, there is an incoming time skip. We don't know how much of a time skip we're talking, so we may be seeing a toddler fighting, if that is the case. And there is nothing to say that maybe that they get together, seeing as how in the same panel they show that Getten's a woman. Dobby calls her a punk. There is literally zero things other than thematic, like, hey, fuck you, Endeavor, to say that this may actually happen. But the idea of Dobby getting his own version of Shoto, who at that point would have a stronger version of both the ice quirk and the fire
Very
quirk.
interesting.
Because Endeavor said himself, Dobby's flames are hotter than his.
Yes. Especially if it is
And
confirmed.
it seems very clear to
Especially
me.
if it is confirmed that he is his son.
Right. So it seems very clear to me that,
That would be very interesting.
yes, I mean, like, look, that's totally grasping at straws, and we won't be able to see that come to fruition for a fair amount of time.
That's
But
for the
if that does come to
that's for
fruition,
shipping.
Holy shit.
Sorry, that's for Boruto.
Yeah, when we get to My Hero Academia, ship it in.
But a panel before, a panel after getting, ices, booty incoming.
Oh yes.
Ah,
Hot
yes.
buns.
Everyone knows. Mount
Mount
ass.
ass.
Mount ass. Seriously, I have yet to see a panel of her where she isn't facing in the other direction just so she can show off
Because
her
it
ass.
doesn't happen.
Isn't the first line in the series by Mount Lady literally a joke about how her ass is her
Yes.
only asset?
Another thing, this is kind of off topic, but something I just remembered. Is it racist to call Todoroki Todoroki? Is it racist to call him a chicken? Because Dobby calls him a
Explain.
chicken. Tokiyami.
Tokiyami!
Sorry. Brain
Oh.
stopped working. Sorry, that was my bad. My brain shut off there for a second. Not good with names.
Yeah, I'm just
Tokiyami.
like,
No, that's my fault.
Was it racist against stand people?
is it racist to say icy hot? No, because icy hot isn't a race.
No. Is it racist to call Tokiyami a chicken?
Well, is it wrong to call Hawks X Endeavor ship Hot Wings?
Yes, but for completely different reasons.
Its total existence is wrong. However, calling it that is very clever. So I'll
It's
give
true.
it a pass.
That's fair.
I'll tell you, I don't give a shit how bad your fucking ship is if it has a clever name.
I agree.
But I will say the worst panel to ever come out of My Hero, of Tokiyami crying.
It's so sad.
It's so sad, but I don't
it.
understand how it works.
Because this is the first.
He also has
fucking,
teeth, so let's not get into.
He has teeth and a beak, and apparently his feathers are made of hair.
Well,
so,
I didn't know that.
What? Yeah, because apparently they're not feathers; they're just hair that's back. So we're not going to talk about any of the logistics of being a bird person.
Okay.
Because how strange... I mean, that's what's so weird about Dark Shadow as a quirk, is that it gives him a bird head, and the bird head does nothing because he has a stand which is totally separate from him. So what the fuck was the purpose of having a bird head?
To look like his stand.
Because he's a big fan
of
Rick and Morty.
Also, how could you call yourself Darkness if you're not just Darkness?
Do you think Tokiyami walked into the fight with Hawks and Dobby and was just like, in bird culture, that is considered a dick move?
Oh my God.
You know, if you were a bunch of birds...
Dumb.
Does he work for the bourgeoisie?
Birdman. The proletariat will rise
Speaking of working for the proletariat, Dobby...
Okay, obviously we fucking exhausted everything we could talk
This is a callback. This is actually gonna... I think Pat will actually find this one interesting. Something Dobby says. He calls them dogs of the state.
Oh my God, Full Metal Alchemist.
Full Metal Alchemist, the
Metal Alchemist.
Full Metal Alchemist. I found that.
Yeah, that's the same thing I thought of.
I was like, is that a reference, or is that like him being
Where's the
serious?
Elric brothers?
Like, is he actually like being like, you guys are like just pawns?
Well, okay.
Both.
Well, there's a number of things to that. Number one, in the context of the story, it has to be number two.
Yeah.
I mean, yes. I'm not saying Dobby's referencing.
However, I love the idea
Dobby watching
of
Full Metal Alchemist.
That Full Metal Alchemist being confirmed to be a series that exists in My Hero Academia's universe.
And Gettin is a huge Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood fan.
He just loves fucking My Hero. He just loves Full Metal Alchemist. Because then that opens up the world to a whole bunch of other shit. Because, like, what if Bakugo is just like, fuck it, I'll read your stupid goddamn comic book. And, like, a couple hundred chapters later just goes, hey, Deku, does the word Hokage mean anything to you? Because you seem awfully goddamn familiar.
Oh my God.
Tell me, do you know your father? How's your relationship with your mother? Not very good, huh? Okay, I guess I'm on the fucking path to die.
Oh God.
Epic
win.
Is your girlfriend useless? Yes? Okay, happily ever after for you too.
Sasuke? No.
Sasuke?
Naruto spoilers?
Hey, it's actually
Man, I don't even watch
Boruto spoilers. God.
I've gotten all of this bullshit out of fucking context clues. I have never read or watched a single anything of Naruto.
You're not really missing out. Sorry, Naruto fans. I watched all of it.
I'm gonna keep it
except
that
for Boruto. Fuck Boruto.
I don't give a damn about Naruto.
Okay, so...
Anyway, back to the topic at hand.
Fat Gum is an amazing character, and the more I see of him, the happier I am.
I agree.
I love Fat Gum. But I was so sad because I looked up, it was because on my feed someone was like, Fat Gum cosplay, and I was like, holy shit, I want to see this, and he fucking cosplayed Thin Gum. Like, what the hell? How come the one fat character in the series still gets a thin cosplay?
That's kind of...
Well, because Thin Gum it's a pretty,
pretty hot.
I mean, yeah, obviously. I'm there with you. Isn't it strange how his mouth is the same when he's thin?
I mean,
like,
so
he
is
still
All
has
Might.
the My Neighbor Totoro.
Sorta.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's fucking strange looking. I mean, like, you ever see those art pieces where people make them hyper-realistic? Like,
it's terrifying.
Like, those would not look great.
It's just nightmare fuel. Especially the eyes.
Oh my God, the
All
eyes.
Might's eyes are such nightmare fuel when drawn realistically.
I mean, most of the characters are.
Well, Well, but like specifically All Might because it's like black and blue,
I mean,
and it's like that just don't look good.
Yeah. I would be scared of Shigaraki in real life.
It does.
Got boys chapped.
Yeah.
I think you ought to. Those lips look pretty chapped.
Use some chapstick.
I think you're supposed to feel bad for him, because the thing with Shigaraki is that he's just really, really rough looking, and I think that comes mostly from, it just comes from his skin being all fucked up. And I've known a few people with just really shitty skin, but like if I even pass someone with similar thing, you just go, "Oh, that poor man," but you don't do anything about it. It's 2020. What the fuck am I? The fucking Messiah?
I mean,
It's the Messiah. No, I'm not.
I'm not the Messiah.
Fucking yeah. But that's the thing, because they actually show that. I mean, he's 6 years old. He's scraggly. He's scratchy. He's literally homeless, and no one does anything for him but All for One.
True.
Now that one, if that's not fucking commentary, I don't know what is.
That is true. I think one of the things.
That's a whole.
I think one of the things that
level.
we're gonna have to start. Well, one of the things that the villains are kind of pushing us to question is who are the heroes really in the right? Who's really the dirty ones here? Because I know he calls Hawks dirt, like literally.
Yeah. I mean, and in the end, in the end of the chapter, Tokiyami's like, your hands aren't dirty.
Yeah.
Like, I believe in you. You had to do the right thing.
Yes.
Like, in the end of the day, this is more than just heroes versus villains. This is about the citizens, and this is about, like, the society as a whole.
Very true.
So, it's a war arc. People die in war.
Very true. There's going to be a lot of deaths in this arc. I can already tell. I can already feel it.
It's how many chapters in, and we only got one so far? We
We
gotta
are
catch up.
at the apex of this. We are at the peak of this particular arc. And as I mentioned before, this arc is going to redefine the rest of the series.
And we still haven't even mentioned how, like Rob, you mentioned just a tad bit, that you believe a time skip is coming. And
absolutely. I think that after this arc, perhaps not immediately after, but very soon, there will be a time skip. Now, allow me to explain a little bit. I think immediately following this arc, we're going to see the villains take over. Now, they're like, here's the thing. We already know that this arc ends with the heroes disappearing. Or not, or they're gone. The words they use is that the heroes were gone that day.
they were gone disappeared from the streets.
Right. So, what that tells me, well, for me, this tells me a number of things. This means that by the end of this arc, the heroes lose. And they either go into hiding, or they die. Which is a pretty big deal. So, when we get to this point, what do we see? We see the villains take control. Now, they may not take control of the government, but they're definitely being in control of society as a whole.
Yeah.
So that will be a bit of a thing, because for the heroes students, we'll have to see if they'll be going back to school. Because the name of the series is My Hero Academia.
Yes.
So
it is about
whether
school.
or not, right? Like at the core of it is about the high school experience and being a superhero, and the last few arcs have been nothing but hero business. We had the joint training, which was hero and student, great. We had Villain Academia, which had nothing to do with Deku at all. It was great for the parallels, but it had nothing to do with our main story as far as the protagonist is
And it again
concerned.
wasn't really school.
Right, and it was learned by experience. It wasn't school. And then we get to the most recent one, the war arc begins, and it's just heroing. I mean, Deku is even present in most of these chapters. He appears for a splash page on and 3 of them.
Yeah.
You know? So, what needs to find out is, once this arc is over and the villains have won, is whether or not this means we go into a point where the villains are in control of everything. The villains are in control of everything, but what does this mean? Does this mean schools are open and people are attending it? Does this mean that that the heroes have been disbanded and they need to go to school for general studies? Does this mean that hero students need to go into hiding to fight back against the villains? Now, I've had a couple of things for this. For one of them, one way it goes, the students have to go back to school as general studies. And in that version of things, in my head, they meet up at people's houses after school to plot against the villains who are now in control of everything. But the way I see it going more so is guerrilla warfare going forward. I see this ending. I see the villains taking control of Japan, and all of the heroes going into hiding, including the students. All the heroes we know and love, especially the ones that are more overpowered, specifically Eraserhead, Hawks, as we've already seen, they're all going to be put out of commission by something. It won't be permanent, I don't think. It'll be just something to put them out of commission for a very long time. If that means no more wings or Eraserhead goes blind for a while. Shit like that. Stuff that'll put them out of commission for just long enough for it to be an issue, but not long term.
The other thing...
And during this...
The other thing that I'm questioning about is, when is the issue of Stain's ideology going to come back? Because Dabi and Toga and Twice and Spinner were all for Stain's ideology, not what Shigechi or Shigaraki.
Shigaraki is a fucking anomaly. I was trying to figure this out the other day, because the thing is, Shigaraki came in on the coattails of Stain to create his new League of Villains. Then the League of Villains come together, and they're like, "Yo, Stain," and Shigaraki's like, "Yeah, but me?" And they're like, "Yeah, man, Stain." And they're like, "Okay."
We've been seeing that come back up again with the whole Spinner thing. So how is that going to affect?
So Spinner has a fucking outburst. Yeah, so Spinner has an outburst as like, "Hey, what the fuck? What about Stain?" And he just basically goes, "Hey, fuck you." Scares the shit out of them, and everyone's like, "Yeah, okay, no, I'm Team Shigaraki. That's fine." And it gets even weirder, because then they take over the Liberation Front, and the Liberation Front is like, "Yeah, dude, I'm here for fucking liberating." And Shigaraki's like, "I don't give a fuck about liberating." and they're like, "Yeah, but no, whatever you're trying to get is gonna end in liberation, so and he's like, "Well, you got a point there. Anyway, bow."
Yeah, so when is that going to come and bite him in the ass, especially with this whole post-hero society that you've been talking about? How is this going to affect that whole thing?
I think it's going to take a backseat, because at the end of the day, their best friend was just killed by the heroes, and that's going to take the forefront of their entire plans against the hero society for the major... I think their motivations are going to evolve beyond Stain's ideology, and it's going to just evolve into more revenge-oriented until they meet Stain again and they get to talk to him. I think there has to be a direct contact with the source for them to even question it again.
I guess that's true.
Right, and that's why I think no matter what happens, the first thing that happens outside of, total the domination by the villains is going to be a prison break. Whether or not that's an arc or just a thing that happens and we have to deal with the ramifications of it is yet to be seen. But no matter what, there will be a prison break awfully soon. And this is where we're going to be confronted with Stain coming out and going, "Hey, Shigaraki's a fucking poser." And everyone going like, but he got us this far. Why should we stop? But then we'll have the other half going, "Yeah, he's a fucking poser."
Yeah.
I mean, and again...
And at the same time, All For One will be out vouching for him, and people will be like, "Well, geez." But then Overhaul will be there going like, "No, what the fuck?"
Yeah.
It's true.
I think there's...
And Yuri will be back going, wait.
There could be more than just a prison break. I mean, what happens if the villains just start imprisoning heroes there?
That's also true.
Well, I figure in the prison break itself, they're going to destroy most of the facilities, but I wouldn't be surprised if they take over All Might and stick him in where All for One was, because, All Might, I mean, you can't say in the last panel of the most recent chapter you've appeared in, I've chosen to live.
Yeah, and not die soon.
Because you just killed yourself. You just committed suicide the moment you say that phrase.
Well, but
So, All Might is probably going to be tortured and then killed. But they'll be about to save him before he dies. Shit like that. So he'll be able to say something to Deku like, "You did your best, and I'm so proud of you. You did it," and then die.
Epic.
Epic gamer death, dude.
Sad day.
So it's gonna be big sad no matter what. Everything is going to be big sad going forward. I'm telling you, this arc is deeply important. Because no matter what, it's going to end badly for heroes, and this means that for the next few arcs, regardless of how long they are, short or long, they are going to be fucking depressing.
Yeah.
They are going to be sad
Night-Eye
arcs,
level depressing.
no matter what.
Okay, but here's where ships start sailing.
Oh dear, you're just going to change. This is where ships start sailing. Yes. Because in the same vein, this is when Deku uses Ochako to learn how to use float.
Hey, don't say uses. Uses is a very bad word in this case. Huh? Come on, there's no object here. They're going to train together, and it's going to work out, and things are going to be good, and ships are going to sail, and that'll be our wholesome content in this sad times.
Sure.
I thought I was agreeing, but okay. No, I agree. I agree, because that's the thing. Horikoshi can't realistically fucking do what post Night Eye did and just go
Deku has a poster now.
Sing and dance.
It's true.
Deku has a cool poster.
Get a cool poster.
Yeah, he does have a cool poster. He's like, dude, sweet, he's dead. I get his poster.
Over my dead body.
Sir Night Eye is dead. Night Eye's dead. I said that Night Eye's dead. That miserable dick is dead. So, I mean, no matter, Horikoshi going forward cannot pull a fucking culture festival arc out of his ass because, they're gonna be sad fucking arcs going forward because everything's different. So, I think I agree with Pat, where, character relationships improving and stuff like that is going to be.
But that's going to cause so much controversy that I don't think it's going to work well for a.
What do you mean controversy?
People not wanting the whole relationship thing with Deku and Uraraka and all that.
Oh, okay. Well, here's the thing. The Japanese audience, specifically Horikoshi the person, doesn't give a single damn what the Americans say. The Japanese are all over fucking Deku and Ochako getting together.
I don't really follow the Japanese.
The only people who have an issue with ships and what's going on in them are American Twitter people.
I have no issue with it. I don't care. I know some people have
it's just obvious to everyone.
Strong opinions on certain things.
Some people are idiots.
It's true.
That's strong language. So I don't fucking divide the fan base before we even get one.
I mean, we've already chosen our ships to sail. I believe we've done enough.
Is there something so wrong with choosing the canon ships? I like the canon ships because obviously there's just the legwork's already there and it already looks good.
And it's going to be developed by the author, obviously.
Exactly.
Yeah, and they're actually gonna come. Something's gonna actually come of it.
It might actually come.
Fucking, I feel bad for the people who sincerely sit there and go, "Yeah, man, hot wings. That's what I'm all about." I go, "Oh."
I mean, I get that
so
too. I get that too. I just, but even the comedy aspect of it.
The only ship that I fucking semi subscribe to that's not
canon.
That's not specifically canon yet is Mirko and Hawks.
Yeah.
There's one line in the manga that's just like where she just goes, "Wow, he's loud. I like that." That's it. That's the only piece of it. And you know what? Ever since that drawing Horikoshi did of them in, like, 80s school outfits, I'm just like, yeah, okay, I'm here for it.
All right,
Tell me more.
Tell me more,
Oh
tell
my
me
God.
more.
No, that wasn't an invitation.
Did you get very
Apparently
far?
not, because
No,
he got his
stop
back
it.
burned off. And probably might die
Does he drive a car? No, he flies, except when he
does it, because his
for
wings
when he
get burned
Because he
off.
has no skin.
The entirety of his back is
Man,
gone.
Hawks is a sad character now.
I always saw him kind
People
of as
having
a
their
sad
quirks
character.
forcibly removed like that. No,
He
Hawks
wasn't,
is-
like,
I mean,
happy,
Hawks has been a fairly tragic
But like
character
he was
so
always
far,
just like
so-
depressed to me for some reason.
That's the
A little
vibe you
bit.
got? I got more of a like I don't really give a damn, but secretly
Exactly.
I do
I don't know. That's depressing
kind
to
of
me.
thing. I don't know if I would describe that as depressed. However, I would definitely describe that as like denying himself for the sake of
Yeah.
others and their perception
Yeah.
of him.
I
you know?
just
Which may in turn make him depressed outside of
Yeah.
whatever.
I don't know. Just like the whole I can't care attitude sort of thing. Which I just associate that with like, not being.
Well, that's actually
happy.
interesting because maybe there is something to that. I don't know enough about it to say one way or another, but maybe there is something to that.
It also could just be me reading into it in my, mental state.
Anyway, but Hawks is such an interesting character. Oh, fucking, I've been meaning to talk about this for a little while now. Where is Best Jeanist? What do you think
I
he's
think he's
doing?
dead.
What do you think's up
I
with
think
him
he's
these
actually
days?
dead.
You think he's dead?
His lung was already
I-
missed. I think it was a Hawks explained to him the situation. He went, okay.
Yeah, I mean it's hard when you look at it because if we find out that Hawks did it and like fully killed Best Jeanist without Best Jeanist knowing or agreeing, it's gonna be
That's gonna
real
fuck
rough.
up some people.
Yeah.
But then again, that'll just add another dynamic to Hawks' character of just this is my mission. This is how I help
being willing
everyone.
to do what's necessary.
See, but
no
how
matter
else would
what.
he
Good
have?
soldiers.
How else would he have had the
follow
body other than killing him?
Well, I mean, Best Jeanist is the Best Jeanist, which is a title given to people who can create damn near anything
Yes,
out of
that's
threads.
true.
I wouldn't be surprised if he could use his quirk to create to use fucking, he could probably turn a denim jacket into a chicken if he
Maybe.
tried hard enough.
That would be pretty interesting.
Freaking
If Best Jeanist just
Yeah.
appears
he's
Out of nowhere.
Doflamingo, Pat.
He goes, "That's a voodoo doll of me." And we're all like, "What?" And we're like, "It feels like flesh and there's blood in it." He goes, "I just had that blood lying around."
Pat, he's just Doflamingo.
Yeah.
Quirk Awakening
I just have a
time.
bucket full of blood.
Oh, did I say Quirk Awakening? I went Devil Fruit Awakening.
Oh my god.
Dear God.
We're gonna start that, Rob. We're gonna do that.
Either way, I need. No, we're not. I refuse. Daga Kutor. Either way, Best Jeanist and his status is a fairly big deal for Hawks going forward because Hawks has done his mission. He stopped twice, which is he couldn't fully realize his mission, which was to stop the League of Villains from the inside out. But he killed twice, which was the hero's biggest threat. Now, it's how he got there that we need to consider because this is where Hawks as a character is where Horikoshi takes a stance on where morality
I agree on
lies.
I feel like
If Hawks killed him, then the means to an end. But if they found a different way, then the series will take there's always a better way.
it's true.
And it depends on how this question is answered.
See, this is a reason why I'm excited for that part too. Actually, a lot. That's also why I really like Araki and JoJo's because he doesn't always have a moral high ground for his heroes, especially like a lot of like the main JoJo characters. Even like Giorno Giovanna is literally a gangster. You know.
Yeah, that's something I think I like about My Hero, because outside of Deku, who, he has Deku, the character, has a couple of conundrums and his own demons to wrestle every once in a while, but it seems that more often than not, he has to, just, he's a shonen protagonist. He does what he has to do, and he comes out on top, maybe not in the moment, but always at the end.
But the rest of the characters do have, like, some development to them. Like, they're not all perfect humans.
Yeah, I mean, and Deku's...
Of course. No, I'll tell you, most of the development of the themes are going to come from the side characters.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, because you don't want to compromise your main character unless there's a very, very specific and, like, close to home thing that Horikoshi wants to be told by Deku and only Deku. And I mean, the most development we've gotten for Deku, like, morally, is the Gentle Criminal arc, by far.
Yeah, and that was less of a challenge of his ideal. It was a challenge of his ideals, but it was more of like a what makes your festival more important than what I'm doing now? And it's like, oh, shit.
Yeah, like, why... But again, it's like from the perspective of how can we how can we as a reader interpret the events going on as, like, is Deku a selfish character for his actions? Is Gentle a selfish character for his actions? Like, specifically Gentle, because when you look at his motivations, it's he doing the right thing in the wrong way. And I think that's how, at the end of the arc, he's looked at. Like, you went the wrong direction.
Yeah, and, that's exactly where the parallels with Deku and Shigaraki come from, as well. Because that's literally the difference of the two characters. Shigaraki and Deku have so much similar that it's just the same thing, but with different approaches. Deku was told by doctors he could never become a hero. But maybe not his mother, but the people around him became the people who told him, yes, you can. Shigaraki, on the other hand, was told like, yeah, I mean, you could become a hero. But his dad and the people around him were constantly like, no, you cannot. They kept denying him. It's the same character arc that just on two different sides of the same coin. Because that's where all those villain Deku fan arts and fan comics come from, don't you know? It's because it's the same character arc. It's just taking the reverse of it. It's like a cosine where the positive and there's equal parts positive and negative on each side of it, of the wavelength. Shigaraki's the negative side and Deku's the positive.
It's true.
Yeah, it's that simple, because there's so much, as we've all mentioned, parallelism.
Yeah, it's constant. It's so much goddamn parallels.
And, Rob, would you like to mention your theory that Deku's gonna have a hair change soon?
Yes. So I was thinking. So in this chapter 270, Shigaraki, in his dream sequence with his version of the vestiges, his hair changes from black to white, just like it did in real life. I would not be surprised if this means that once Deku powers up in the same way Shigaraki has, maybe he goes Super Saiyan.
Okay. He pulls an Aizawa and his hair just goes straight up.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. And maybe he just turns blonde, like, who knows?
His hair already goes straight up when he uses One for All at 100%.
I mean, yes.
Yes, and it also turns teal.
It's
so
not
Super Saiyan
actually
God.
teal,
No.
it's just the light reflection.
You're not
Super
actually
Saiyan
teal.
I'm
God
not.
Goku.
Thank you for recognizing it. It's actually Super
Goku
Saiyan Blue.
Deku.
Thank you.
Whatever.
Super Saiyan Ultra Instinct 18, dude. No! Not Super Saiyan!
Okay.
This isn't even my final form!
All right.
I
I think we've spiraled enough.
I think we have, so, I think we've gotten to a point where this is, I think we won't be able to say much more until chapter
It's
270.
true.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
honestly.
I'm excited.
I mean,
What do you think
As
happens
someone who
in the
is
next
just caught
chapter?
up, I am so excited. And personally,
I think
I think there.
You go,
I
Ice,
think
you guys.
it's gonna cut to, Shigaraki. I probably pronounced that name wrong. I'm sorry. My brain's not working right now. But it's gonna cut to the new host of All for One, and the giant going and fighting at Tartarus. That's my opinion.
Okay.
I
Matt?
honestly think we're gonna, because to continue how Horikoshi's been going back and forth in this arc, I do think we're gonna have a strictly hospital chapter where we're gonna get a taste of what Shigaraki is now.
Yes.
And I do think that Exless is going to be the first quirk Shigaraki gets. I do have a feeling he's going to get destroyed, regardless of if he loses his quirk or not. He will be dead. There is no doubt in my mind that he either gets instantly decayed, or Shigaraki uses him as a testing dummy. And then I think someone's gonna die. And I don't know who, but God, I hope it's not Eraserhead.
I don't think it will be Eraserhead. I think Eraserhead's going to stick around for at least a while. I do think he may get a fucking horrible, horrible injury.
Again.
But he'll be alive. You know, alive long enough to figure out the Shirakumo thing. Because I'll tell you, after we learned that the doctor was actually searching
Don't even get me
for his
started
quirk
on the doctor
and caused Shirakumo to die
Shirakuma.
instead.
and Izawa, because Vigilantes is fantastic. I highly recommend anyone go read My Hero Vigilantes if you care a smidgen about Izawa and Present Mike's story, and even Midnight to a smaller degree. But My Hero Vigilantes is. Oh, I could talk about the Doctor and
Maybe a
Kurogiri
podcast
for a
on
while,
that.
but that's. It's just. Rob and I talked about this for a tad bit before, but do you think we don't have a timeline of the events with Aizawa and Shirakuma dying and the Doctor getting Shirakuma's body and making Kurogiri, and when they had Shigaraki, and if Kurogiri was always meant to be a caretaker of Shigaraki, if Aizawa was always going to be, or Shirakuma, whatever, they were always going to be a caretaker. We don't know that. We don't have a timeline. But at the end of the day, fuck this Doctor.
The Doctor is on a whole nother level of evil. Like, All for One's a bastard, but the Doctor is on a whole nother level, it seems. Because, All for One kills indiscriminately, but the Doctor kills passionlessly. He effectively killed his grandson, turning him into a Nobu. The Nobu with wings that grabs Deku earlier in the
one that Stain killed.
during the Stain fight. Like, holy shit. That is such a big fucking deal. Why did you do that, Doc? And he's just sitting there like,
I
hey,
wanted
man,
to. Quirk
yeah,
singularity,
I needed
bro.
wings.
Okay. Well,
I needed wings. He had wings. There we go. I had perfect access to him. I mean, he was my son's kid.
And again, like, they had to die in the grand scheme of things in the Doctor's mind. His family had to die, or else he couldn't properly serve All for One.
Right.
okay.
And that's just fucked.
Should we talk, Rob? Can you finish your thoughts on the next
Thoughts on next chapter.
chapter?
Chapter 272. Chapter 271 ends with a little bit of... It ends with Gigan Makia getting up. That tells me the next chapter is going to open with the mansion, with Gigan Makia doing something. Followed immediately by why he's doing it being Shigaraki. We're going to cut back to Shigaraki doing something, and Exless is dead. He's been dead ever since we learned his name. But it'll be official as of next week.
Okay.
The moment I saw you, I knew you were destined for great things.
Yeah. So, what happened specifically, I do not know. Because, like Pat and I have been saying this for weeks now, we are at a point where it'll be easy to predict what happens next once we finish this arc.
Yes.
But right now, everything is fucked. Because you know what I thought 2 weeks ago? I thought Shigaraki was dead. How? What?
Yeah, because 2 weeks ago, he wasn't breathing. Heart stopped.
True.
Dead.
Yeah, so here I am thinking like, oh shit, well, there goes the big bad. But no, he's back. So nothing makes sense right now.
Shiggy's
Everything
back.
will make
Okay.
sense soon. But I don't
Again.
understand
Well,
anymore.
I guess we'll
Again.
reconvene on this next week.
We shall. We will be back in a week. And, yeah, so I'm going to use this time to plug the other things. JoJolian, Chapter 97 podcast, coming out soon. And come back weekly for more My Hero content. Come back monthly for more JoJolian content. And we'll have sporadic things for other series such as One Piece or even Black Clover if we try hard enough.
I mean,
We'll
I'll
have
try hard
sporadic
enough.
stuff
It's up
for-
to you guys. If you also want to try that hard.
We'll have sporadic things for other series, and we'll even have a sporadic retrospective.
I mean,
bits
Berserk is getting another
for-
chapter this year, so
This year.
this
yeah,
year.
there's
What?
going to be 2
That's
chapters this
crazy.
year.
Whoa!
Oh fuck! Next thing you're gonna tell me is that Hunter x Hunter is gonna release a chapter within the next decade.
But hey, I mean,
But
Berserk
yeah.
content.
Stick around, everybody. All right.
Good night.
Good night.
Plus
Plus
Ultra.
Ultra.